Hello and welcome to Talking Tent, a show about movies, TV, and all the content we can possibly consume.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Irma.
We are a married couple whose shared love of movies and television cannot be contained, so we've decided to share our thoughts, opinions, cheers, and occasional jeers with the world. Today we've got some big industry talk to go through. The SAG strike and the Emmy nominations all happened in the same week. We've got a quick television recommendation with no spoilies because I want you to watch this show. Then we will be breaking down the finale of Platonic, the start of Afterparty Season 2, and then we're going to see Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. We'll be breaking all that down. But first, we've got some marital bliss. What's going on in our life, Irma?
Today's your birthday. I almost forgot.
Happy birthday to me. That's right. That's my birthday today, July 18th. Your boy turns 36 years old. What else? I went to Seattle for work. Did I see Seattle? Kind of. I got in early the first day. So I walked down. The hotel was kind of in the downtown area. Not the best area, gotta say. But I walked down to the water because I said I'm at least going to the water. The Pike Place Market. Also, pretty underwhelming. Sorry, Seattle. Any of our faithful Seattle listeners. The city as a whole, I'm sure, is fine. But like when you go to one spot, the main area, it's never great. But Pike Place reminded me of Faneuil Hall in Boston, but worse. Not as historic and like kind of lame. I went to the place where they throw the fish. Really underwhelming. It's really small. No fish were being thrown. It's just a fish market and not even that big. Like you think, whoa, this is going to be this cool thing. It's not. On the water is really nice, except they're doing so much construction. It looks like in 3 years, give or take, it'll be really nice there because it looks like when you're looking out and like below you, they're building out this whole new boardwalk right on the water. So then I bet it'll be really nice. Right now, I don't know. It's fine. Then I sat in a hotel and in a conference for the next 3 days and barely saw outside, except that we went out to dinner a few times. That was nice. Had some shockingly good Italian food in Seattle. Really good pasta. That was surprising. Cool spot. It's called the Pink Door. It's on all the lists. Believe the lists. They were very good. And then I saw the Space Needle in the distance from another dinner. And then I flew out the next day. So all in all, successful trip to Seattle.
Successful time spent by myself.
How many episodes of Love Island did you watch while I was
caught
gone?
up. I was going to shout it out when we get there. But yeah, it's great. I'm enjoying it.
Wow. You know what I was thinking? Because somebody else actually from work was it came up somehow and how like it comes out every single day, right?
Almost, yeah.
And I was like, that's crazy. That's what I've always said, like 60 something episodes a season. That's crazy. But then I started thinking like, that's what we do with Good Mythical Morning. We just wake up and for the next half an hour to 40 minutes, we're watching Rhett and Link.
Yeah.
So like, it's just that, but for British people falling in love. And I guess you probably watch it more at night.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who are super into it that watch it as soon as it comes out. But also it comes out like, I want to say like a week later in the US than it does in the UK. Like we can't like vote for any of the things.
We got to get a VPN and a BBC subscription.
Gosh, I don't care that much. I just enjoy watching it. They're all really funny and I don't know. It's a ridiculous show and I don't know. I like the premise. I think it's cool that it's every day. I mean, they live there and condensing a whole week into one episode of like a day, like it just feels silly.
Like with Survivor, it's like how much we're missing so much.
Yeah, and like people, like at least in The Bachelor, you get engaged at the end of this, like for Love Island, like they win like a lot of money. Like people vote. That's why like the fans care and they want to see as much as they can to like they like who maybe deserves this money, you know? So
you got to be likable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I shifted my perspective of being like, it's not The Bachelor, it is a substitute for like Good Morning America or like what we watch. It's it's just like a daily show you would watch. Entertainment Tonight.
Sure. I mean, no, it's just in the summer. It's not like it's every day of
for
every
60 days.
Yeah, it's like a summer, 2 months. Not that crazy.
And on to the big news in industry talk. The Emmy nominations came out, and we're going to run through the major ones and just give our thoughts. All in all, I think if it happens, this will be and should be a pretty boring show because it should just be 2 shows winning for everything. But we'll see. So, outstanding drama. We've got Andor, Better Call Saul, The Crown, House of the Dragon, The Last of Us, Succession, The White Lotus, and Yellow Jackets.
I have to say, I was very surprised to see Yellow Jackets here. And I was happily surprised to see Andor here. I thought that was such a great show. So I'm glad it's getting a little shout out, I would say, in this category. Obviously, I think Succession's going to win. But I mean, there were so many great shows that it's like, I don't know. Like maybe, yes, like in a moment, Succession deserves to win. But The Last of Us was also really great. But I do have to say, it is its last season. So like maybe we just like give it to Succession. So like maybe next year The Last of Us can win, or like, I don't know, The Crown or whatever.
I was just verifying something because what I was going to bring up is the Emmys is kind of confusing because it doesn't say what season. And like the cutoffs are, you have to like really know when the cutoffs are to know what you're voting for. So I was just wondering with Yellow Jackets, if this was for season 1, like The Bear is, or for season 2, and it was nominated in 2022. So this is for season 2 of Yellow Jackets, and that season was bad. Like one I was fine with.
Is May 31st or May 30th. That's when it had to be out by. So
yeah, it is just weird that they don't say what season, even though you're technically voting on a season. It doesn't say the season. So it's kind of odd. Like people that should be voting The Bear, best comedy series when we get to it. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. But they might think they're voting for season 2 and they're not. That's next year's nomination.
Well, you would think like everyone who's in the Emmy Academy knows.
I don't know. That. They just log on to their portal.
But also that's why buttons. The Bear put it out.
I know.
When they did.
Yeah. Okay. Back on track. Yeah. Succession is going to win this easily. Succession is going to win everything that the dramas have to do. I don't see anything coming in. Andor is really good, but too niche. The Last of Us was really good, but also too niche. The White Lotus was really good, but like Succession is just going to win. Easy. Lead actor in a drama series, Jeff Bridges in The Old Man, Brian Cox in Succession, Kieran Culkin in Succession, Bob Odenkirk in Better Call Saul, Pedro Pascal for The Last
Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us.
Jesus Christ,
sorry,
I'm sorry I Americanized you, Pedro. Jeremy Strong for Succession. Another weird one. So if anybody doesn't know, the acting, so the series, I think you have to nominate 2 episodes at least. Like that's basically what it's all based on. The whole thing is really weird, but it's like so that the nomination people aren't watching all 20 episodes of a show so that they could still vote on it. So the series is 2 episodes. For acting, it's 1 episode. So like you would think it's weird that Brian Cox is in lead actor for Succession when he was dead in episode 3. But they probably just sent episode 2 and that was his nomination reel.
Well, sure. But like he also could have put himself in guest actor and won that easily, which I think he should have. No, I don't think supporting. I say guest personally.
There's got to be some sort of rules with guests, but yeah, who knows? This again, Jeremy Strong, easy.
I mean, is it though? I feel like they're kind of all going to cancel each other out. Like this could be where maybe Bob Odenkirk gets one. I'm just saying, like, it could happen. There's a lot of Succession in this category.
That would be nice for old Bob.
And also, because it's its last season. He can't be nominated again for Better Call Saul. So
same for Succession.
Well, I understand, but Jeremy Strong has already won, and I don't think Brian Cox has won.
Yeah, it's possible. I think maybe Bob Odenkirk would be the only spoiler just because.
And he hasn't won.
Everybody loves him. And it was the end of Better Call Saul. And it was really good. I just think Jeremy Strong knocks out all of the Succession people. It's been that way. And that I feel like that's just how it's going to be. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely not wrong. But I don't know. 3 Succession just feels like a lot in one category.
Yeah. Outstanding lead actress in a drama series, and this one is definitely more up in the air. Sharon Horgan from Bad Sisters, which we didn't watch. Melanie Linsky from Yellow Jackets. I love Melanie Linsky. We've talked about this, but season 2, if that's what this is for, not the best. Elizabeth Moss for The Handmaid's Tale. Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us. Good for you. Kerry Russell for The Diplomat, which we also didn't watch yet, and Sarah Snook for Succession.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough category. I mean, I love seeing Bella Ramsey in here, even though I have to call this out because we've talked about it in the past. Bella is, I want to say non-binary. So she calls herself they or them. So the fact that she's in leading actress, I think is interesting that that they chose to run in this category. Again, if we get rid of the leading actress and lead actor, would just be nicer for people who identify as non-binary. Anyway, I do think this is Sarah Snook's to lose, even though I haven't seen a couple of these shows.
Yeah, this is the harder one because Sarah Snook doesn't get just Jeremy Strong wins every year. It's like everybody knows it, everybody loves it. It just is. Sarah Snook has not gotten that love.
I also just want to say that it's interesting that the House of the Dragon ladies were shut out of this. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I don't like being mean, but certainly better than Melanie Linsky. Sorry. The Yellow Jacket season 2 is just very disappointing. So Sarah Snook has never won. She's been nominated. And it's like Elizabeth Moss is kind of the de facto winner, kind of like Jeremy Strong is for the actors. And I also think Elizabeth Moss, this was the final season. I think we didn't watch The Handmaid's Tale. I can't believe it's still on. So we'll see. This is another one. Like, do they just down the line Succession? I say probably, but we'll see. But Sarah Snook deserves at least one for this role. It'd be pretty crazy if she came out of playing Shiv Roy with no Emmy win.
I agree. And I want to say they probably submitted that episode of her and what's his face on the balcony.
Yeah.
That was just like the best scene. Like I was like shook after watching that. And I don't think anyone has been able to match that. But of course, I haven't seen some of these. So
yeah, I feel like Elizabeth Moss is the only one that is a maybe just because she's won so many times before and it's easy for people. Or they give it to the young and Bella Ramsey. And on to supporting. And this is where it gets pretty funny, honestly. Good for HBO. But outstanding supporting actor in a drama series is F. Murray Abraham from White Lotus, Michael Imperioli from White Lotus, Theo James from White Lotus, Will Sharp from White Lotus, Nicholas Braun from Succession, Matthew McFadden from Succession, Alan Ruck from Succession, and Alexander Skarsgård from Succession. So it's 2 shows. Lots of boys. And also, this whole thing. Since when are there this many nominees?
Yeah,
for the
there's
shows,
a lot.
for the actors, that's 8 in supporting. I thought they whittle it down. I guess they're just like that, put them all in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of amazing. I mean, the White Lotus getting this many actor nominations, I think is really great. I loved that show.
Also, why did they do drama?
Well, last season they were in limited series.
Right. So like if The Bear's a comedy, I guess this season of White Lotus really wasn't that funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about F. Murray Abraham being in there. Fine.
You just didn't like his character. He was creepy.
Yeah, and also, isn't he like that in real life? Didn't he get canceled?
Yeah, I guess he did a little bit.
Like, it's kind of weird that he's like nominated. Anyway, I mean, Theo James, I wouldn't mind seeing him again. And then Matthew McFadyen won last year for this. So I think that's really great. I love seeing Alan Ruck here. I'm so happy he's getting recognized for his work because honestly, I just loved him. I thought he was like a silent killer on that show. He was so funny. And Alexander Skarsgård, like, wow.
We love Skarsgård.
I know. Like, I don't know who's going to win here. I think
it's Matthew McFadyen.
Really? I think it could be Alexander Skarsgård. I truly do.
That's true. It's kind of, he's like, he is kind of the middle. He's like the new age movie star where he started in television, is famous enough to be in movies, but still goes back to television. He's definitely like the most famous of these people.
Did he win for Pretty Little Liars? Or that wasn't the show. What was it called?
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies. Oh my gosh.
So similar. I don't know. He was bad in that one.
I know.
He was a bad man. I think it's just got to go to Tom. It's going to be that same episode.
Yeah,
Sarah
that's
Snook,
true.
they should recreate the screaming on the stage when they win back to back.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I would love if Matthew McFadyen won. I love him. I mean, Darcy forever. But yeah, it's a tough one. A lot of people.
So many people. Outstanding supporting actress in a drama series. We've got Jennifer Coolidge from The White Lotus, Megan Fahey from The White Lotus, Sabrina Impaccatori, from The White Lotus. She was the Italian.
The pretty
person.
one.
Aubrey Plaza from The White Lotus. I feel like I'm doing like the thing when they're doing the nominations and stumbling all over myself.
I know.
And
you
Samina Tabasco. She must have been the other Italian person, no?
No, I think one of them is like the desk
person.
lady. Yeah, because I know one of them wasn't nominated. I want to say the singer who played the piano wasn't nominated.
Hold please for Googling. Should have done this. Forgot that I didn't know all these people. Samina Tabasco is the pretty one.
Oh.
And this just sounds mean to the other people.
I know.
It's like the other one is not the pretty one. But
well,
I mean,
no,
come
but
on.
like
That
that's how
girl
they.
is gorgeous.
But that's how they like even framed it in the show.
Yeah. And yeah, Sabrina Impaccatori was the desk clerk.
Yeah. So then there's just the one other girl who sang and did the piano. She did not get nominated.
And then from not the White Lotus, Elizabeth Debicki.
Debicki, yeah.
Debicki?
Why is this
I don't know. I just don't know how to pronounce all these people's names. From The Crown, Rhea Seehorn from Better Call Saul, and J. Smith Cameron, who is
from Succession.
The lawyer. What is her name? Jerry from Succession. There was another list I was looking at that had the characters listed with the names, but I took this list from somewhere else. This is also an interesting one. I feel like the women is more interesting. The actress is more interesting this year for some reason.
Yeah.
Just because like it's less set in stone.
Well, Jennifer Coolidge won essentially last year for this role.
Jennifer Coolidge could definitely win again for name recognition.
I don't really think any of the other Succession ladies have a shot. I mean, maybe Aubrey Plaza does.
The White Lotus people.
Oh, sorry. White Lotus.
Yeah, I feel like Aubrey Plaza could be the dark horse. Just like, the kind of the ingenue, but of the Emmys.
Yeah.
And then I think Rhea Seehorn has a chance.
Yeah. Isn't she like considered like the best?
She's fantastic in Better Call Saul. Mm-hmm. It's the end. She's done. They're done. And I feel like she's one of those actors that doesn't get enough credit.
Mm-hmm.
And like, when people say like he's the comic, I feel like she's your actor's actor. Like the actors all know who she is.
Yeah, I feel like people talk about her a lot.
And they like want to celebrate this person that like her career, she's not a major celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
She did this one fantastic show and hopefully she gets more work, which I'm sure she will. But that I could see as people are just like voting for her. But then, people love Jennifer Coolidge. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. So now we go to the comedy.
Comedies. Outstanding comedy series. Abbott Elementary. Barry. The Bear. Jury Duty. That's a fun one. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Only Murders in the Building. Ted Lasso. And Wednesday.
So interesting list. I was kind of surprised to see Wednesday here. It's definitely not like, what's it called? appointment.
Prestige.
Yeah, Prestige or Appointment Television. I mean, either is Ted Lasso, I think, at this point. Like, that really kind of fell off. I love that Marvelous Mrs. Maisel got recognized here. And the Jury Duty, not the Jury Duty, but Jury Duty in general. Like, that's a very different show. And I'm so surprised that they recognized it.
Yeah, very happy about Jury Duty getting in. I feel like word of mouth has spread that most people are watching it, especially because it's free. But yeah, I mean, if the Bear doesn't win, what are we doing with our lives?
Yeah, the wickedly funny The Bear. If this doesn't win, I don't know what will. Though it is also Barry's last season, and same with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah, Barry, I guess, is an interesting one. I feel like it's a little too weird sometimes. Sure. I know you made a joke of it, but I think outside of Jury Duty, The Bear is the funniest show on this list.
No, I know.
Jury Duty, like
more
laugh
tense.
out loud funny.
I mean, Abbott Elementary is pretty funny sometimes.
Yeah, but like The Bear is both wonderfully dramatic and hilariously funny. If it doesn't win, but again, this is for season 1.
Yeah,
but I feel like people are probably going to vote for season 2, and then it wins so easily.
But that's why they put it out the way they did.
And contrary to what you said, I think the dark horse is Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't think
it's so popular, and Jenna Ortega is so good.
Yeah, with Gen Z.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't think it's going to win, but I wouldn't be like on the floor shocked if it did.
I would. And then we didn't even talk about Only Murders in the Building. Like, that's, yeah, great.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Abbott Elementary is also good. Classic sitcom. I think it actually got better season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding lead actor in a comedy series. Bill Hader for Barry. Jason Segel for Shrinking. Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building. Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso. And Jeremy Allen White for The Bear.
Oh, boy. I'm so happy Jason Segel is here. I kind of want him to win this, even though I'm sure it'll go to Jeremy Allen White. And I also... So only Martin Short got nominated for Only Murders in the Building. That's kind of interesting. A little strange.
Yeah, it is weird that Steve Martin did not.
Yeah.
Unless he didn't submit. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I love Jason Segel. We liked Shrinking a lot. He has no chance. It's either Jeremy Allen White for The Bear or Bill Hader for Barry. Got it. Or Sudeikis for Ted Lasso if they're like still lamos wanting to celebrate that.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of bummed, though I don't know if it would be here or supporting, but my guy, Harrison Ford, not nominated for Shrinking as well. So
true, he was quite good.
He was so good. He's so good in everything. He never gets nominated for things. People need to cherish him more.
He's got to work with like Martin Scorsese on one last thing and win the Oscar for that. Outstanding lead actress in a comedy series, Christina Applegate for Dead to Me, Rachel Brosnahan for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary, Natasha Lyonne for Poker Face, and Jenna Ortega from Wednesday. And this is the only one that I like. All 5 of them could win.
I agree.
Except maybe Christina Applegate. Sorry.
I feel like she's won one of these, actually, to be honest.
And Dead to Me might also be over. So like, there's a lot of shows that it's the end. I haven't looked at the odds. I don't even know if betting odds are out. I assume that Quinta Brunson is the favorite.
Yeah.
And then followed by Jenna Ortega.
I don't know. I feel like people love Natasha Lyonne. I'm so happy she made it on here. And then Rachel Brosnahan. I mean, this is it for her.
Midge.
So
we love Midge. She's moving on to be Lois Lane.
I know.
So yeah, I'm going to say it's Quinta Brunson, but I don't know. And then finally, the supporting for comedy series. Again, so many nominees, but we have Anthony Carrigan for Barry.
Woo!
Who is NoHo Hank.
Love him.
Phil Dunster for Ted Lasso. Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso. James Marsden for Jury Duty. Jury Duty getting a little more love, which is nice. Eben Moss Backrack for The Bear. Tyler James Williams for Abbott Elementary. And Henry Winkler for Barry.
So I think this is Eben Moss Backrack's to lose. If he doesn't win here, I will be absolutely shocked. And I also kind of think the Andor nod kind of gives him a little bit of a boost because he was also in that show. I love that
James stole those scenes also.
Yeah, exactly. I love that James Marsden is here for jury duty. It was just so great. Ted Lasso
Such a
people,
funny thing to get nominated, I assume, for his first Emmy. Be like playing himself, but like a dick version of himself. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know.
Yeah, if I think I've said this. I think I said this the beginning of the year when we were talking about our favorite TV from last year. I said this definitely the last few episodes when we were talking about the second season of The Bear. I think if Eben doesn't win everything he possibly wants for this, people are doing something wrong or they're confused because he is the best. He's the best thing. I wouldn't be like so mad if Jeremy Allen White doesn't win, even though I think he should. But Eben Moss-Backrack is like so good.
Well, I just don't think like you have the same sort of tension in the show if Eben isn't there. You know what I mean? Like
he's also the funniest guy. He's like, he does it all.
I understand. Yeah, he just like makes the show what it is. Like, yes, Jeremy is the heart of the show, but Eben without him, the center. Without Eben, I just feel like because they just like combat each other so well, and I don't know.
Yeah, he better win. I'll be mad. I'll go on strike.
Okay, yeah, because people would really care.
And the outstanding supporting actress in a comedy series, we've got Alex Bornstein, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Ayo Edebiri from The Bear, Janelle James from Abbott Elementary, Cheryl Lee Ralph from Abbott Elementary, Juno Temple from Ted Lasso, Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso, and Jessica Williams from Shrinking. This is a good group.
It's a really good group.
Like a lot of just like really good parts of their respective shows.
Yeah. Jessica Williams from Shrinking. I'm so happy she made it on here. She was so great, so funny. Ayo Edebiri, I think, was great on The Bear. I don't think she has much of a chance here, but I would be so happy if she did. I think in the past, Alex Bornstein has won this category, and Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso has won this category.
And Cheryl Lee.
Oh, and Cheryl Lee Ralph, from Abbott Elementary. So there's a lot of past winners. So yeah, really could be anyone's.
Yeah, I vote for Ayo. I just go straight down. Succession and The Bear, straight down the line.
I disagree.
She was so good, but I guess this is for season 1.
Yeah, so it's tough. Like, I love Hannah Waddingham so much. So I would love to see her win here. And then Jessica Williams. Like,
and Bornstein really holds.
Yeah, she does.
She was kind of the winner that can. So we talked in
She's
the past
the linchpin
about how the first season Maisel won like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Show, Brosnahan, Bornstein. And then going forward, it was only Alex Bornstein that like kept winning. So maybe that happens as like the last thing that the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel wins. Yeah, this is one that's up in the air. The actresses is certainly more interesting.
Yeah.
But unless there's like some crazy upset with the actor.
And then we're not really going to talk about directing or writing and such like that. Maybe when it gets closer to the actual show, if it actually ends up happening anytime soon.
Yeah, writing and directing for television is like not as easy to declare as it is for like movies. You know, writing, it's basically a whole room, even though people get their credit as one episode. And then directing is like basically guest directors are coming in for.
Well, I would say this has to go to Succession, the guy who also
writing.
did.
Yeah.
No, directing.
Oh, both.
Yeah, well, because it was like that one guy who did directing for Succession, who did Game of Thrones. I forget his name. Mark Mylod.
Oh.
Like if he doesn't win for that, like that scene of like them all getting the phone calls.
Yeah. Oh, right. That's probably what the one they.
Yeah, because wasn't that like a whole like play they did?
Although often with the writing and directing, like there'll be multiple episodes nominated for the same show.
No, I understand, but I think Mark Mylod directed most of the episodes. Maybe they had like one or two guest directors, but
Irma's on the inside.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, as she hinted at, this show probably isn't happening.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt. So if it doesn't happen, let's say like in September, I doubt it will happen until January.
Yeah,
like they have to wait till football's over. Like they're not going to compete, even if they like
Sunday night.
Even if they come to an agreement earlier. Sorry, I skipped a whole thing, but it definitely won't happen until I would say January next year.
Yeah, or they'll just do the awards and not the show. But we shall see, because the Actors SAG-AFTRA joined the WGA in being on strike against the producers.
Against
the AMTPT or whatever it is the production.
The studios, yeah.
The studios. And it is the first time since 1960 that both unions have been on strike together, which is pretty wild because the 60s was a completely different time. Obviously, there were 6 shows, probably 100, notable actors. Now there's, I think the SAG, I think is 160,000 people, give or take. And the writers are in the thousands as well. There's a million TV shows, just all these streamers. It's pretty wild. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, the unions are fighting for higher wages, especially for younger, newer, like the bottom level. That's the part that doesn't really get played up enough, I think.
Well, also like with residuals, that used to be a big thing. I would say like in the 90s and early aughts, but like that has gone away with these new streaming models. So like people who wrote on Seinfeld could still get money from that. But now if you write on a show like The Bear, you don't get residuals. And I want to say, like, I listened to an interview of a writer on The Bear, and he was saying like he had 2 jobs and can't even make ends meet. And he's writing for The Bear. Yeah. Like this is the most talked about show. And it's like sad, like he should be making like a livable wage and he just isn't. And then that's also writing. But then a woman who was on Orange is the New Black, she also talked about an actress. I forget her name. She's talked about like having to be a bartender while she was on Orange is the New Black. Like she's an actress. She's like a face on the show and she couldn't make ends meet. And it's just like sad. And that's also just one of the things. I would say the other big thing is AI and keeping your likeness. Basically, another big issue I've heard of is that studios can bring actors, let's say like even like mostly this is for background actors, have you on set for a day, capture your image and then send you home. You get paid for 1 day, but then they have your likeness to make you do whatever they want. I mean, obviously you have to sign a contract and I think you have to sign like certain things, but at the same time, like they should be paid for all of the work that at least their likeness is being used for, and they're just not. And it's just, anyway, so that's like another big thing. And it's just kind of funny thinking about that episode we watched at Black Mirror with Annie Murphy.
Yeah, so in the age of the streamers, industry shifts so much and people make decisions and then those decisions kind of become tradition in a way, like they're just kind of followed because they were. So in the beginning of when Netflix was just like dropping the bag on shows, like, I mean, House of Cards, even though that one's kind of for multiple different reasons fallen off. But that was kind of one of the originals and they paid too much to David Fincher and the people involved to have that show early on. But then if that show had been on Fox, even though, whatever, back in the 90s, like they would still be making money from residuals and reruns. And with the streamers and such, like they pay upfront and then you don't reap any rewards of whether your show was good, beloved, watched millions of times.
Exactly. Like there's no like meter metric or anything.
Wednesday is a great
measure
example.
Success.
The Bear is a good one because it's so critically acclaimed, but Wednesday is an even better one because forget the critics because who cares? Like it's like millions and millions and millions of views Wednesday got, and the writers didn't see any of that. Like it was just they made a show that everybody loved, and they could have made a show that everybody hated and didn't watch, and it would have been the exact same thing. And they don't get, like, if somebody watches that one episode 100 times, they're not getting paid for that. Whereas, when Seinfeld still reruns now, Jerry Seinfeld is getting paid and the writers are getting paid for that.
And every time it gets like put on Netflix and put on HBO, you know what I mean? It goes back and forth. Like they get money for that. And so it's the model has completely changed.
So yeah, basically the same. We keep talking about the writers, but the same thing for like smaller time actors, people that are on, the bartender on a show that gets a few lines every episode. That used to be enough to get you through at least. And now it is definitely not. No. And also seasons are shorter. So you're less episodes. I think like the PR, they're trying to do that. It's hard because the big thing which is working because everybody's just mad at the big CEOs who make billions of dollars. So that's working for now. It's hard when you put out, the actors like, oh, this is going to be better because we can get our big celebrities involved, like Jennifer Lawrence, who made $20 million from
no strings attached.
No hard feelings.
No hard feelings.
And but like that's not the good one because like they need to find more people that are on like that person from that show, and they they're not living, they don't have a livable wage. But like you see them, they're not celebrities because it's hard. Like Tom Cruise made $100 million from Top Gun last year.
Yeah.
But that was also with production. So it's like it's
and also
it's tough.
With him, it's different because he has he has an agent who will fight for him. So he'll get more than the minimum wage. A lot of these other smaller actors, sure, they probably have an agent, but they're not able to fight for them as much, so.
Yeah, it just needs to be remembered that the union is there for the minimums.
Yeah.
And, making those people. So we'll see how long that drags out. If for just a normal viewer, I don't think we're going to see much of an impact until the fall. So I think we have at least 3 or 4 months of like everything's already in the can. It's all coming out. Movies are still coming out. But if this drags on,
well, you have a friend who works on
Severance,
yeah, and that's shut down.
So that won't be out until the winter at most if it comes back in October. And that's like a lot of things. Brad Pitt's F1 series, the Dead Reckoning Part 2 is shut down.
Yeah.
So like lots of things are going to start getting pushed back if this and probably will continue. So on that note, let's talk some TV. Last night, we just started, and we're going to do no spoilies on this, barely talk about it, because I think it is definitely good enough. Catch up, and then we can start talking week to week. I just don't know if it's getting the press that a lot of these bigger shows do. But there is a new Max original. We called it out in our television coming out this month in July. It's called Full Circle, and it's all directed by our beloved Steven Soderbergh, starring Claire Danes, Timothy Olyphant, Zazie Beetz, Dennis Quaid, Jim Gaffigan, and a bunch of other people. It's like an organized crime story, but the organized crime are all Guyanese, so it's like a totally different
world,
culture and world that we've seen before, rather than just like in another Italian mob or something. And it's Soderbergh doing what he does, but for like these stories, essentially with no spoilies, it's just like this spider web of events that all connect in these weird ways. And like Soderbergh is just so good at making those type of things because of his commitment to handheld camera filmmaking. Like everything is frenetic. It's on the streets. Nothing feels over dramatized. He does almost all natural lighting. So like sometimes it'll even be too dark because he's just on the fly. He's like filming this as fast as possible. It makes the acting and stuff, I think, also feel more genuine. There's not as just much artifice.
Yeah. And like I doubt there's that many people around,
That's what it feels like because they're like on these streets of New York.
Well, no, I was going to say it's very cliche to say like, oh, New York is such a character. But like, I hate when people film in New York and they're on a street and then all of a sudden they're all the way uptown. And then you're like, wait, that doesn't make sense at all. Like this actually feels extremely realistic, like just like the driving, the locations, like where they end up. And like, they're very much in New York. Like this is recognizable New York. And I love that. Like, I just find that so, at least for us, I don't know. It makes me feel
Local
more
New Yorkers.
Yeah. It makes me feel just like slightly more connected to the story.
Yeah. It's really good. We were looking forward to it and I was surprised by how enthralling it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I want to say this takes like a lot of twists and turns, and we got like one twist in the first episode and I loved it. Like it really subverted my expectations and I just thought it was so great. Yeah. And I just from seeing the previews for the rest of the season, like it's going to get even crazier. And I'm just like, I am shocked. Like honestly, the first episode could have just been a movie and that's that, the fact that it's like still going is, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Very tense.
Mm-hmm.
And now 2 quick ones, 2 comedies. We talked about Platonic last episode leading up to this. finale. Now we've seen the finale. Irma, what did you think of Platonic?
I mean, it was a great show. I enjoyed it. I don't really think we need to go too far into this, but yeah, Rose Byrne starts her event business doing wedding planning. Seth moves to San Diego after getting a new job at Johnny Rev. And I guess he's engaged now.
Yeah, so Johnny Rev gets his comeuppance.
Yeah.
So which makes like Seth can work there.
True.
Yeah, he moves to San Diego and is now getting married to the new CEO of this restaurant chain. Yeah, it was like good. I had fun, some laughs. Again, Rose Byrne was the standout, I thought. Not great.
Yeah,
Good
I mean,
enough.
I don't really see this needing a second season.
No, I don't.
Like, I enjoyed this season for what it was. I feel like they ended it on a good note. I don't think we need to like go back to anything. Like, they didn't leave anything open. So yeah, this was just like a great season of a show, and I enjoyed it.
And the Afterparty season 2 came back. So I think I spoke wrong when we were talking about, again, the Excitometer episode.
You sure did.
Yeah, because I thought it was the same people, and it's not. So Tiffany Haddish is back, Sam Richardson is back, and Zoe Chow are back. But that is it. And there's been 2 episodes. Sam Richardson and Zoe are still together, and they are going to meet Zoe Chow's parents for her sister's wedding. And then there is a murder. So it's a new murder, new characters, but the same structure where they're basically doing each character's story in their own unique style.
Yeah.
Again. And then eventually each episode will kind of hint at different things, and Tiffany Haddish will crack the whole thing. But some of the new characters are Zach Woods, Ken Jeong, Paul Walter Hauser, and John Cho, and then there are a bunch more.
So the first episode's definitely more like of a setup episode. Sam Richardson, I would say, is like the main focal point, which he was in the first season, and he recounts the weekend, and it's pretty much like it makes you feel like that's how the weekend is, and then everyone else's recounting of the weekend is kind of bouncing off of his original. And so the second episode is kind of like a Jane Austen adaptation or structure. And it was really fun, I thought. I mean, it got a little, not boring, but I don't know. I just kind of got a little over it after the first 15 minutes. I really thought it was cute, like the references to Pride and Prejudice. But then I'm like, okay, like I'm over the reference. And like, I don't know. But all in all, it was definitely very good.
Yeah, Zach Woods is tickling me.
Oh, he's great. It's
a lot. He's really, really weird in it. But for some reason, like, it's still just so funny still. So we'll see by episode 6 if what he's doing on the show is still funny. But yeah, it's an easy murder mystery. We actually watched this right before, then we switched to Full Circle, which is also kind of like a mystery in pieces. Just trying to figure out exactly what's going on. It's funny to see like a joke one and then like a super serious tense one.
Yeah, and then Hijack also is kind of like a super serious tense mystery.
A little less, but yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Hijack is starting to bother me a little bit, but we'll talk about that probably maybe next episode, but definitely when it's done. It's too nice.
Too nice?
Yeah, like it's too Apple. It's too nice.
Okay.
Like they didn't show the person getting shot. And then we don't even know who they are. It's like a very non-consequential.
It was a woman.
Yeah, right. But like, it was nobody. You know, like that was the big thing. And
no, it was a woman she was fighting with.
I know, but like it was nobody. It wasn't. They showed. Okay. We didn't even know who she was really. They had like 2 lines before it. Anyway, we'll see. It's still fun. Hey Irma, you want to go see Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1?
I know we have to leave now.
Check back in. We're coming right back, and we'll do our instant reaction.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Or you want to wait and get your thoughts together?
Yeah, I always like getting my thoughts
together.
We'll see.
Maybe we'll do instant reactions and we'll come back for thoughts together. Anyway, see you when we come back. We had some technical difficulties with the microphones for the first 5 minutes of this conversation, so bear with the slightly subpar audio, and then it'll kick back into what it normally sounds like. You can hear Irma much better. We're back. We just saw MacGuffin Impossible. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. This might be the first time in Talkin' Tent history. I'm trying to think. Normally, Irma and I agree pretty closely. Every once in a while, I tend to be a little bit more negative than she is. Then she gets flustered at me being a little more negative. This time we are flipping the script for the first time ever. Dun, 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 dun. Irma did not like this movie, so I'm not even going to ask myself. Irma. Fine, we'll go back to tradition, Talkin' 10 tradition. Irma, was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 a good movie?
It was fine.
Ooh, it was fine. It was fine.
No, we'll go through it. I mean, there's definitely some like really cool action set pieces. But other than that, I mean, Christ, cut the fat. It did not need to be 3 hours plus a whole nother part that I don't know if I can sit through.
Well, to be fair, it was only 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Okay.
All right, let's start from the top. Zachy's going to lead you through this. Oh, yeah, we are fully spoiling MacGuffin Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. That's the Mission Impossible. I know, but this one was even more absurd because there was no villain. One thing that Irma might not like. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. It starts with the submarine scene.
Good luck.
Yeah, if anything, it's odd. It's a definite change from how Mission Impossibles normally start, which they start with some sort of mission. It certainly did not. Ethan Hunt is not involved with this at all. What I liked is that it made me intrigued by thinking like, okay, what's going on here? And then I thought the whole fake ship of it all and the disappearing. At first, I thought it was IMF. I thought like Ethan Hunt was involved and they had hacked the system. Then it quickly transitions to be a robot eye. And that was the first time Zach went, uh-oh.
Uh-oh is right.
Uh-oh, we're doing this. So the set piece of the submarine was good. Classic submarine shit. Flood the torpedo gates. We gotta go. Bah, 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 bah.
And I thought the twist was kind of cool, but I mean, we can get back to this at the end, but like the super computer, like I guess it lives in the submarine.
Yes.
And so like, couldn't it like get flooded and like kill itself? Like I guess I just don't understand how it's like embedded in like all of these governments and stuff when like it's housed in the submarine at the bottom of the ocean right now.
Lesson 1 for Irma on Mission Impossible movies. Don't think about it too much.
I guess it makes it harder for it to be destroyed.
The flooding aspect, presumably it was inside of that giant ball.
Yeah.
So even if the whole sub flooded, that ball would not. And then how it's connecting to the internet. Yeah, Bluetooth from, whatever. That's the first time we say whatever. Then we move to the government debrief, which second, from Zach.
Yeah, well, none of these people were in the same room while this was being filmed.
They definitely were.
No, I'm convinced.
They showed wide scenes. They showed wide scenes.
I'm convinced that no one was in the same room. I mean, this movie was affected by
True.
And like this was like at the height of COVID, so I just don't think that these people were
green screen yourself and say these lines. We'll edit it all together.
Like the eye lines, like just something wasn't adding up. It was very strange. And then none of them saw when Tom Cruise walked in, or just like a random guy walked in. If they were all in the same room, they would have seen him.
Right. Their characters should have seen them because the actors should be in the same room. I really did not like this scene. I've heard a few people think it was funny, and it wasn't. And if it was, I missed it. It wasn't winking. I don't know, but it was like it was basically an info dump of what just happened and what basically is going to happen for the rest of the movie. But
and what the supercomputer actually is, like could mean for the rest of the world. And
it was 5 different people doing a speech that one person should have said, but it wasn't written like it was 5 different people. It was written like it was a computer splitting up the dialogue between 5 people. They were finishing each other's sentences. They were putting commas on their sentence and putting expletives into each other's sentence. And it was all like zoomed in. They all had different inflections. So maybe you're right. They just weren't together. So, and then they just tried their best to stitch it. It was laughably bad.
It was so bad. Also, because like they were doing like these crazy close-ups, and that's also what makes me think of that they weren't in the same room.
But then we start having fun. All right. So basically the concept, in theory, I like the concept. The concept is there's this AI that's become super sentient. They even say that it's like it's become sentient. Yeah. All right. Put a bit on the nose. But there's an AI. So we're in Mrs. Davis that just did this Lindelof's new show, which didn't work. The Matrix. We're in Terminator Zone with Skynet.
Well, what's the one with Hal?
2001: A Space Odyssey.
2001: A Space Odyssey. And then what was the one with Shia LaBeouf? Wasn't that like a supercomputer too?
That I don't know. So they were battling an AI, but because you can't really battle an AI in a movie, an action movie at least, where you have to punch and kick, they kind of give you a more human antagonist by saying, well, like every country wants to try and control this AI. So we need to get it for the US. And then Ethan Hunt decides, no, we need to shut it down because nobody should have that type of power. Very noble. We all love Ethan Hunt. And then we get the airport scene, which I thought was vintage Mission Impossible. Lots of shenanigans, lots of misdirects. We're following one person, and then there's another agency going after them, and then there's more people. And then we introduce Haley Atwell, a welcome addition to the franchise.
Yeah, she was definitely needed. I feel like Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt is so earnest, and she just like added, I mean, she was a bit earnest as well, but she was more of like levity and just gave it a bit more heart, I would say. Yeah, she was so welcome.
Yeah, Haley Atwell was definitely the standout, I thought, of this movie, playing Grace. She was a great foil to Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt. They just had such wonderful chemistry. You know, the way that they introduce her is that she is also after the key. Oh, we didn't even mention the MacGuffin. Okay. Rewind. The MacGuffin is that there are these 2 crucifix keys and they fit together, and that's the only way that you can access the AI.
You can have control of the AI.
Don't know.
Well, because you could shut it down.
Sure.
So in theory, the AI would be beholden to you.
So they're trying to find these keys, which is, we saw the keys when the submarine exploded in the beginning. And now the US government, or IMF, Ethan Hunt, they're looking for the key. And so is Haley Atwell. And they're at the airport because somebody hired Haley Atwell. Grace, I'll just keep calling her Grace. That's her character. Someone hired Grace to also find us. So she's like a thief and a pickpocket. And Ethan Hunt susses this out, and then they're kind of going at it together, and Ethan Hunt, the government's after him because the US wants all the power, and everybody's after the key. She was really good. It was a lot of fun. And then they start playing with their own technology, and Luther, Ving Rhames' character, is like messing with the government because they're putting Ethan Hunt's face on the surveillance cameras. And that's what made me think of like, okay, this is a cool concept because they're so reliant on technology. Like, you know, they can hack it. So like Luther can be in control of the technology and outsmart the government. But what happens when you can't, because the enemy is the technology? And they get to this point later in the movie where the enemy actively uses the technology that Ethan and the rest of them rely on to misdirect Ethan. And I thought that part of it was really cool. Just like how much they're reliant on technology to do the work that they do.
Yeah.
And normally it's like, you know, Philip Seymour Hoffman is the enemy, and like we can just use our technology to outsmart him. But how about when the technology is the enemy? Dun, dun, dun. But that's kind of where it ends because it's really hard to make AI the enemy.
Yeah.
So the airport scene, great stuff. There's several sequences in this movie that are top tier. Overall, we're talking Mission Impossible is a top tier action franchise. So I'm being a little nitpicky. Irma is like kind of actively didn't like it, but now we're talking negatives. I just thought
it was really messy. The story was super wonky. It didn't hold together. And I feel like you are having trouble like trying to like explain what this movie's about. Like, yes, maybe you have like the broader strokes, but you completely left out Elsa in the beginning part, like in the desert where they went after her. Yet. No, that happened already.
Elsa's after the...
No, that happened before the airport.
Oh, right.
Exactly. And like that just shows you how inconsequential her character is in this movie, which sucks. Because also I really like her. I think she had like a line. Okay, fine. I'll let you finish.
Ethan, sorry, I skipped a part. All right, I took notes.
It doesn't matter. I mean that part, honestly, though, he gets the key from Elsa.
Ethan gets the key. So then
he gets one half of the key.
They're looking for the other half of the key at the airport because they're supposed to be a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also what Haley Atwell is going
honestly,
after.
That doesn't even matter.
But then Haley Atwell, like then it's a whole thing. Like that part of it's really cool because they're outwitting each other. And then she's like, actually, we wanted to run into each other because we knew that you would get the key and then I could get both half of the key. So that part was cool. How they get to that point, still at this point in the movie, I'm totally fine with. Very much fun. And then the next great sequence, I don't remember how they get there, but they're in Rome.
Essentially, Grace outwitted or outsmarted Ethan, gets on a plane to Rome. He has, what's this guy from Perry Mason?
Yeah, Shea Wingham. We're going to get to that too. Shea Wingham.
Well, that's where we're getting to it now. I mean, we have Shea Wingham like chasing him through this airport, which honestly doesn't make sense. I still really don't understand who he is working for and why. He doesn't even really care about the keys. He just cares about getting Ethan.
He worked for the U.S. government.
I guess it just didn't really make sense. Like there's just too many people. Anyway, so he essentially follows Grace to Rome. They don't even really like get back to this, but she gives the key to a passenger, like unbeknownst to him. So she has to get this key from this passenger. And then, we have the best scene in the movie, I think, in Rome. This like amazing car chase.
Yeah, an excellent action sequence. The car chase through Rome. And this, Irma was cackling. It was like very funny. It was having fun with itself. It was really Mission Impossible top tier. Like at the top of its game, just understanding what it was, and then also just the action itself was fantastic. They were in this tiny Fiat. They were handcuffed together. It was complete mayhem, but like it was funny and fun.
Yeah,
and completely.
It was like
engrossing.
The energy that I expected throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, but it had to get more serious.
I understand, but I just felt like the scenes with Vin Rhames, Simon Pegg, and Ethan were just like too much. Like they were just like so like, oh my God, my friends, you guys mean so much to me. I will give my life for you. And they said that to each other. I want to say at least 3 times. Exactly. Family. Does that sound like anyone to you? Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, I think this and Fast X are very similar, even if other people will not.
Yeah, a car chase through Rome, except one movie actually went to Rome and filmed, which is kind of amazing that they did that.
So this movie is definitely better than Fast X.
I know.
It is not as good as Fallout. No chance. Not even close. The Shea Wingham, I'm kind of sick of him for some reason. We just watched all of Perry Mason with him. He's just like, he's the same. I also could not get over his hair.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I don't know why they had it sticking up so much.
Flopping all over the place.
But like they just had it stuck up so much. It was like, just it was driving me insane. He looked crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know. It's just the same thing all the time. So after the Rome scene, I'm still in. That was very fun.
Well, also, and that's where we get Pom. How do you say her name? I don't know.
I'm going to say it's Pom Klementieff.
So she plays Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I was delighted to see her. Not that I even realized it was her, but like I just thought she was like a henchman essentially of like the big bad, and we'll get to who that big bad is, but I just thought she did a really great job of being like a scary person that was coming after them.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Two people I think were fantastic in this flick were her and Haley Atwell. And then, of course, like Tom Cruise is Ethan Hunt. It worked.
He's fine.
But those are the two standouts. So then, yeah, after that Italy scene is where like there's a definite drag, and we bring Elsa back in, and Elsa is all of a sudden with the team. And
I swear she has like no lines.
Yeah,
it's like
she doesn't
so
say
weird.
that much. She feels very expendable, and the movie realizes that.
Yeah, they fridge her.
And like, I just don't really, there was so much going on, and they had spent a whole, I don't even know at what point this happens. Let's say it was an hour into the movie.
Yeah, it really starts dragging here, I think.
Well, like, hey, they had built such a good chemistry between him, Ethan, and Grace. And then Ilsa's there, and you're like, oh, she's in the last two, right? She was in Fallout, and she was in Rogue Nation. And like, basically, she was the character that Grace was in in Rogue Nation. But like, I don't know, if you haven't watched them recently, I feel like these Mission Impossible movies aren't really as linked as other franchise, like the Fast franchises.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't remember these things so much. And then they're trying to tell us that Elsa means a lot to Ethan, but you're like, wait, but Haley Atwell and Grace is right there. So like, we're all rooting for her. Like, everybody there is rooting for Grace. If it had to be one or the other, it's like, let's get rid of Elsa. Who gives a shit?
No, I mean, I don't want anyone to get rid of. That's the thing. I was
ready.
I was kind of like annoyed by the option, by like even the question. I don't know. I just felt like it was just too much.
Yeah,
it was so unnecessary. Like, why is that a plot point? Like, why is that like fine if that's what happens, but the fact that the supercomputer essentially tells Ethan one of them will die, either Elsa or Grace, and you have to choose who will die, makes no sense. Like, why?
Because it's kind of a part of the Mission Impossible movies. Like, everybody that's really close to him, except for Ving Rhames, is dead. So like, it happens, and then like that's, but the weight, the emotional weight of those things just didn't come across.
Yeah, Elsa had no lines in this movie. Like, we didn't care about her. Sure, if you've seen the other movies, 5+ years ago, maybe you would. And I guess I should have watched maybe those movies closer to before seeing this. Maybe I would have cared, but it was just very, very strange.
Yeah. So for the
and we didn't even talk about Great Gabriel yet.
I know, that's next. For the first time that I can remember, these plot points around Elsa were plot points to be plot points to get us to the next thing. Like, we had to have Elsa get killed by Gabriel so that Ethan Hunt would want to kill him, but then not be able to kill him because he's the one that knows XYZ. So like, they had to add these stakes, but they didn't, because there was so much, there were so many interested parties.
There's like too many characters.
So much stuff. Yeah. So many people wanted this key. And the key. They were just chasing after these two pieces of metal for 2 hours and 45 minutes. And right, let's talk about Gabriel, technically the big bad. He is the big villain. And I guess the actor himself is fine. And he was handsome. Great. But like, he was just a cog for this AI. And this is where it starts to get really hard to have an AI be the villain when you're not willing to do what the Terminator and what the Matrix did, of like really making the AI a character. So like, Agent Smith is essentially the machines.
Yes.
And like, and then even like, we see the machines, like the squid machines are the enemy. So when they're in human form, we understand who they are. They're speaking for themselves. The same thing with like Skynet and the T-1000 in the Terminator. Like, that is the bad thing. In this one, we never interact with the AI. We only interact with Gabriel, who is working on behalf of the machine, but we never see him interacting with the machine. He is just a robot person, but not. Like, he's a person, but he basically has no personality, and he's just doing orders. And we don't know why. And
well, it seems like maybe the AI picked Gabriel because Ethan is the only person that wants to destroy the AI. Everyone else wants to use the AI, and they're like, oh, who can we get that will throw Ethan off of his game? Because they essentially like gave us Ethan's backstory in this movie, which was a little strange and bizarre. I guess this Gabriel character kills
somebody. They don't really
explain. They
don't
say who. We are maybe led to believe that it's maybe his wife.
It's a retcon.
Partner. Yeah. Like, it's just, they gave him a backstory. I don't think that they've ever given him a backstory before like this. And Gabriel was the one who killed his partner. And so I guess that's why he's here, to throw Ethan off of his game.
Sure. I just still don't understand like what his motivation is, but I guess that's fine.
I guess just to have control, to have money, control over everything, instead of giving it to a government.
Not him. It's giving it to a machine. Like, why does he care so much about this machine?
Well, because the machine would grant him all this power.
Yeah, they don't really say that, though. He just seems like a henchman to the henchman.
I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, so not to bring up Mrs. Davis again, a show that you didn't like, but I honestly really did like how they did the AI. What?
Well, you didn't like it so much that you stopped watching it. I at least finished it and thought it was pretty all right.
Yeah, I understand. But like, I liked how they did the AI in that show, where like the AI would just like call someone and it would just like use literally every single person around you, and like it would speak through these people because they would be on the phone with just this like AI. It's hard for me to explain it, but I just thought how that show did it was just way more effective, I would say.
Yeah, well, as everybody basically had an AirPod in, which is like true. Everybody is constantly connected to their technology, and the AI would speak to them and they would repeat the words. So yeah, like I'm wondering if they're going to do that in part 2. Like they have to do more. The AI eventually does have to be the big bad, right? Or else or are we just fighting Gabriel for another 2 hours? Like it has to escalate to the point where the AI is actually interfering. And then it kind of does, it does a little bit. Moving along with the plot. So we got Elsa. Then Vanessa Kirby comes back. And hey, I'll take Vanessa Kirby whenever I can. But like, here's another character that really did not need to be there. And it is becoming like how the Fast movies are. It's like everybody is just back. Everybody has to be involved. You know, Helen Mirren in the Fast X. Like, we don't need Helen Mirren again. That was fun for one movie. We don't need her to add more confused motivation back to Mission Impossible. Same thing. Like, it was just another person going after this freaking key. Vanessa Kirby is doing a deal. I don't even really remember why she was involved, but she's a person that could get things. And
yeah, she's just a buyer.
She's there.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we're doing Vanessa Kirby, Haley Atwell, and Rebecca Ferguson. All, first of all, beautiful women. And Palm Clemente.
Yeah.
4 beautiful women that seem to really love Ethan Hunt.
No, but not Palm.
A little bit. She came around.
Sure.
And
I know,
like
he's such a weird looking guy.
They're all fighting for this key. And like 2 of them just did not need to be in this movie. If one of them dropped out, like if Elsa wasn't there or if the White Widow wasn't there, I feel like it would just balance it more. It's like, oh, there's more people going after this thing. And they're all on a train. All of these characters are going after the key. They're all on a train again for some reason. They're doing a deal again. Somebody's got something. I can't remember why. Vanessa Kirby, then Haley Atwell impersonates Vanessa Kirby, and Tom Cruise has to get on the train, and he can't use the masks anymore because the AI conveniently broke the mask thing. So
that mask thing is pretty cool.
It is really cool, and it's always satisfying when they pull the masks off and they're like, yeah, it was you all along. So we get the scene that was completely ruined by the marketing, the motorcycle jump. Kind of completely anticlimactic because
I agree with that
so many times.
Yeah, I think that would have been such a cool moment seeing it, but because we saw it so many times, it wasn't as cool. But like knowing that he actually did do that is kind of cool.
Yeah, of course it's cool. But it was also like, I feel like the plane scene in maybe it was Rogue Nation, maybe it was Fallout. I don't remember. But when Tom Cruise was holding on to the plane at the big plane as it took off.
Oh, I know.
I feel like they didn't use that in the marketing. They only showed the like, this is real. Watch him be strapped to it after the fact. But maybe I'm wrong and it was exactly the same. But for some reason, that scene, when I watched it for the movie, I was still like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But in this one, I don't know. Like the build up to it was like, oh, here it is. And then it's just exactly what they already showed.
Yeah.
Like usually in the trailers, they'll show something and then they'll one up it. And like, it was just that. And then it cut to him diving and talking. So whatever. Then he crashes into the train. He saves Grace's life. That was fun. There's this crazy, I don't even remember what happened on the train, but somehow Ethan, then they're on the top of the train.
Oh God.
Then they're fighting.
Well, so Gabriel essentially sends the train like on a runaway train. He breaks the brakes. So the train's going super fast. Vanessa Kirby, the White Widow, is meeting with the head of Mission Impossible, right? What's his name?
Yeah, the CIA guy that Ethan doesn't realize is crap.
Yeah.
But it turns out, good twist.
So he's a bad guy now, and she is meant to be selling him the key, but it is actually Grace Hallie Atwell as Vanessa Kirby doing this. I have to say, Vanessa Kirby acting as Grace, I thought she did a really good job.
That was fun.
Yeah, I thought
she looked funny because the eyes were different.
So?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it looked a little funny.
Yeah, I just thought she did a really good job. And then she decides to decline it because it's actually Grace and keep the key because she found the second key. And so now we finally have the two keys back together. And then they start realizing, because the real Vanessa Kirby wakes up, and then Grace has to start running. And so she's running. And then finally, when they catch Grace, Tom Cruise smashes into the train and basically saves her life. So that was actually kind of cool.
Yeah, that was fun. Then he was all messed up. It wasn't like a superhero thing where he just comes in, like he smashed through a train and he was actually dizzy, which I thought was fun. It's like when they put real life out. Well, not really, but how people like get tired.
Exactly. Fights. He sends Grace off to stop the train because it's going way too fast. And then he starts fighting with Gabriel somehow on top of the train for some reason. I don't know why. And then also, what's his face is there? Your guy that you don't like.
Shay. Yeah.
Why is he there?
He's always there.
I mean, I feel like I'm a little jaded to rooftop train fights. I feel like we've seen those so many times now.
We have seen
like
them
just
a
the
lot.
ducking and then the I don't know.
This one did it real good though.
Did it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was fine. And then somehow, Ethan tells
Shay
to get all the people to the back of the train while he helps Haley stop the train. And then they see that it's about to get blown up. So then they take off two of the front train cars. They like unhook them. And then I thought this was actually really cool, this scene where the train cars fall off the edge because Gabriel conveniently blows up the bridge. And then the momentum of the train cars, like they slow down, but like they're slowly like heading off of the track into this like canyon. But it's only Tom Cruise and Haley. And so they like run first on the top of the train, then they go into the train. And I just thought that was a really cool scene. And we also saw in the marketing that they did it, at least with one train.
Yeah, they actually drove the first train that falls off the front.
Yeah.
Is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was the best sequence in the movie. And it was also 2.5 hours into it.
Yeah.
After the hour and 15 minutes of like really dragging through like all of these people wanting the key. And for some reason, Ethan Hunt having to choose between all these women and blah, 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 blah. And it started to get, I still liked it, but it started to get kind of boring.
It definitely dragged.
And even the scenes in the train leading up to this, like it was all just very long. Somebody should have just edited, like we could have easily cut an hour out of this movie, put whatever they're going to do for the next 2 hours into 1 hour and make this.
You're making my case for me.
No, I know. I agree with you, but I still had fun and I thought it was fine. You were a little bit more mad about it. Like
I wasn't mad.
We'll get to your final thoughts. But yeah, as the train was falling and them having to get to the next car to eventually get like safe, I thought it was really cool. It was kind of video gamey. In each car had its own kind of personality, its own obstacle. It was almost like moving from one room to another that all had different. Like there was the kitchen where all of the stoves were on for some reason, and the oil started spilling out, and so there was like flames and oil, and they were trying to run as fast as they can, and then it went into this nice
like dinner
car with a piano, and then the piano is going to fall on them, and they got to do this crazy jump. And so I really liked that. I was like on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
I was giggling like a little boy, as you should in these movies. And then ultimately, one last weird plot point is, so Ethan has the key. That's how it ends. Part 1, Ethan has the key. He didn't kill Gabriel. He could have killed Gabriel. He didn't. Oh, he finds out all of the information of where the robot is. The brains of the robot. Gabriel does, and then he screams it to people, or he says it to people, and then
he does.
Yeah, Gabriel finds out from the CIA guy.
Yeah,
or no, the president, the head honcho.
That's not the president, but yeah.
And then, but also Palm.
Yeah,
hears him, and he says, and Gabriel says, "I can't trust you. You're gonna turn on me because Ethan spared your life." At one point, so he kills her, but doesn't quite kill her. So eventually, that woman does do that. She tells Ethan where the mainframe of the computer is, and it's inside the submarine, under the water. So it ends with Ethan knows where to go, kind of, I guess, and he has the key. And Haley Atwell gives herself up to the government man, the CIA man that we learned is bad. But then when she does the thing that Ethan told her to do of being like, give me the chance to be in the IMF, he says, interesting. But like, why would we trust him anymore?
Yeah, I don't know.
Confused me.
It was weird.
So it's like, okay,
like, clearly he's not a good person.
Yeah, but I guess it's still like, he's still going to hire people to do impossible missions. So in theory, we don't care about the motivation. I don't know. But now it was kind of like Grace's character is in IMF as an agent, just like Ethan, opening up the possibility that she can carry the mantle, even though I doubt they ever would do that. And it just wouldn't work. But
why? Because she's a woman?
Nah, just like nobody. It just if Tom Cruise isn't going to do it, just make a different action movie with Haley Atwell if you really want to.
Interesting.
I don't know. It just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work with what's his face,
Jeremy Renner, yeah.
And like it just wouldn't work with her. Just like Indiana Jones wouldn't work with Waller-Bridge. No, Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
It could work with her.
It wouldn't though. It wouldn't.
Sounds like you're a bit sexist, Zach.
No, it's nice that they're doing it like as women as opposed to just another generic white guy. But like, just make a female-led action movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. The key. Started getting annoyed at everybody just wanting a goddamn key. The sequences.
They just said it so many times.
The freaking key.
Yeah.
Is it the key? The key. The key. The secret. There were some absolutely fantastic sequences, and I suppose what you're supposed to come out of these movies is like, well, it doesn't really matter what the story is as long as the action's good. But they put such an emphasis on the story. And the story wasn't really that good.
No, the story was just so all over the place. I mean, I guess I understand what they were trying to do. Like, I don't know. When you think about it, like Tom Cruise is all about theaters and he doesn't want, movies to go to streaming with the algorithms. And like, this is literally, he's fighting an algorithm. I don't know. I'm stretching.
Yeah, I cannot imagine they were thinking about all this. I think they were probably thinking, well, we can't just do another guy that wants money or power. Like, what's next?
Yeah.
Oh, AI.
Well, I mean, the writers and the actors are fighting against AI.
Yeah, goddamn AI.
Or at least trying to regulate it. So, I mean, not like so crazy, but I don't know.
I had fun. The sequences that were good were very good. The middle definitely dragged. Maybe like go for a pee-pee. Although if you listen to this whole thing, you probably watched it already. And you probably disagree. Probably loved it.
I know a lot of people love this. This has a high score on Rotten Tomatoes.
I know. I think it's just weird. So again, we do take in other opinions. So sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Today I happened to listen to a few other reviewers, podcasters that were talking about it, and they loved it. And this, I mean, it's only 4 people, so who knows? There might be more normals like us that were like, yeah, it's pretty good. And actually, I don't even think the reviews are that good. It's in the 70s, isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was in the 90s. Oh, maybe that was
96.
Right? Yeah.
Never mind. I'm totally wrong. Yeah, it's definitely not a 96. That's crazy. It's like top tier action, but like it's just confusing why this feels very similar, slightly better, but not shockingly better than Fast X and the new Indy. Like very similar. Even the plot points between this and Fast X are very similar. This is definitely the best of the 3, but not to the extent that I think a lot of other reviewers would be saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was definitely fun when it was like doing the crazy stunts and spectacleness, like the car chase through Rome, I think was my favorite part. You love the train scene. I also really like that. Other than that, it was fine. I mean, I love the crazy spy stuff, like the masks.
The first hour.
Yeah.
Was really good. I thought Haley Atwell at no point when she was on screen did I say this part is bad.
Yeah. No, I agree.
This part's fine. She did a really good job.
It just dragged on. And it was just, and then the parts where like it wasn't crazy action. It was just like so quiet and sentimental and earnest. And I don't know. I don't really come to these movies for that. Like, I don't know. It's just, and like Ving Rhames, like his character is so funny to me that he just like sits in a chair and just like, I don't know.
The man in the chair. I had a theory. All right, so Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, and Rogue Nation are 2 hours and 10-ish minutes. Then Fallout was 2.5 hours. And then this one was 2:45. So for some reason, every freaking movie is getting longer and longer, and they don't need to.
I mean, that's movies in general.
I know. I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
And like Fallout told a complete story. So this was 2 hours and 45 minutes. And it's part 1, and it didn't really conclude in a satisfying way.
I know, and I said this to Zach yesterday.
Yeah, so here's the banger. That's ended with a banger.
I don't know if I want to watch part 2. Like, I don't. I mean, I will. Don't get me wrong, but this was just so... Doing a part 2 is so unnecessary. I know that's like... Everyone's doing it. I mean, freaking Fast and the Furious... Fast X has a part 2 now. I mean, Spider-Man Multiverse has a part 2. I'm just saying, like, everything has a part 2. Why are we doing these part 2s? Just end your movie.
End your movie. Make more money.
I get it, but it's just like, it doesn't need to be 2 parts. Like, this is not a good story.
Well, technically, any, like, sequel trilogy are parts.
Sure.
But, like, this one, like, when they actually say part, they, like, literally don't end it. But let me actually clarify. So I said, well, I think I have no idea what they're going to do in part 2.
Also, they're filming part 2 right now, and it was shut down.
Not happening
because of the actors and writer strike, which I find funny because the first part was also shut down because of COVID. This movie is cursed.
It's a mess. I don't know what they're going to do because Tommy has all of the keys. And he, in theory, knows where the submarine is. And if it's about him actually figuring out where in the ocean the submarine actually is, that's horrible. But is he just gonna fight Gabriel more? Like or is it gonna be like the AI is gonna get way more into it and like start messing with technology and going after him with like all the remote control cars and drones? But Irma said she's might not see part 2. She said, and children, cover your ears. Irma said, I don't give a fuck what happens in part 2.
Yeah, I was pretty fired up last night.
You sound fired up right now.
Yeah. I forgot I said that.
I said, whoa. Because usually I
guess I was really annoyed. I was tired and it was dragging on. It just doesn't make sense. Like there were parts where I was like, I was like hitting it. I was like, come on now. Are we still talking about this fucking key? When they were all sitting in that nightclub with Vanessa Kirby, I was just like, what is happening? And then people were just looking at each other, not saying anything. I'm like, come on. I want to go home.
So Irma didn't like the movie, which is fine. Hey.
I mean, there were 2 really cool action set pieces. 2 for a 2 hour and 40-minute movie. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's it. What are we talking about next week? Oh my God. What are we talking about next week?
I say no TV next week.
No, Barbenheimer. That's it.
That's it.
We're going Barbie on Friday, Oppenheimer on Monday. Don't even get me started with this IMAX thing. I'm going to sue AMC. That's stupid. I should have just bought the ticket. But yeah, so then we're just talking Barbie and Oppenheimer, and then that's like basically it for movies for the summer. We'll talk Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but other than that, we're going to catch up on some television. Probably have like one or two
old movies.
Yeah.
Like I still want to watch John Wick 4. I'm really mad at you for not.
Yeah, we're definitely going to. Although a lot of the same glowing reviews for this movie as for John Wick.
No, I think John Wick.
Let's keep going. You know what? I'm starting to realize I didn't like this movie as much as I did. So the part when Elsa dies on the bridge.
Yes.
Why were they sword fighting?
Yeah, I don't know. Zach, I don't know.
Yeah, that part like kind of bothered me. It did seem like it was trying to do John Wick. Like it was trying to do every movie that it competes with and outdo them. And I like, why did Elsa have this saber? Like this freaking sword. And she just pulled it out of nowhere. Just shoot. Mission Impossible about shooting and driving.
Yeah.
And like sneaking into weird spaces with lasers and stuff. I don't know why they were sword fighting. And then she gets stabbed. And we don't really care that much. But Haley Atwell was really good.
Oh, you and the Haley Atwell.
She was really good. She was like so charming. That's it. What did we say? Next week, Barbenheimer. Yeah. Do your thing.
Oh.
Thanks, Craig, for the production assistance. Thanks, John Welch, for the intro and outro music. Zach, subscribe so you know every time we post an episode. Feel free to leave a review if you're a newer listener. Reviews help. Follow us on all the social medias, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. I've been posting way more recently on TikTok and Instagram for my month of Zach.
Yeah, well, your birthday was yesterday. How is the month of Zach going?
The month of Zach is going pretty well. Some movies aren't that great, is what I'm learning. And email us. I bet you liked this movie more than us. So
yeah, maybe I should have seen it again. Also,
we're not seeing it again.
Oh, no, I'm not saying in theaters. The person next to me left.
He did leave.
I'm just
maybe
telling
it was an emergency.
you. Yeah, he left. So I think people walked out of this movie. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's going to be one of those that like the critics are too scared to say it wasn't that great. No, audience score is also 94. I don't know. It's definitely not a 96 movie. Did we not see the right movie? No, we did. It was a little bit boring. It has some cool things in it, though, for sure.
It was so...
I meant to not look at this website to not see the Barbie and Oppenheimer scores yet. And now I've seen them.
Uh-oh. Good or bad, at least?
I'm not going to say.
Oh, just say.
They're both good.
Okay.
Oppenheimer. That's it. Subscribe. Are we a little punch drunk right now? Anyway.
Well,
thanks.
Yeah, goodbye.
Oh, wait. From our living room to yours, what do you want to watch?